Hey, we're here. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Traveling with Bruce. Right here. There we go. We're here, Traveling with Bruce. Nice to see you all. I got a T-shirt on today, but it's one of those T-shirts that it's a real long front because it's what the back of the ship normally looks like, and it says Traveling with Bruce right down here. It's right on my belly button. But when you see my noggin here, you can't see. You see, it's not easy. You think being a YouTuber is an easy gig? You think again. You try it. I've been trying to be a YouTuber since 2017 now. Is that right? 2000? Is that right? Yeah, 2017. My God, this is 2023, or is it 2016? No, 17. My God, I'm losing track of how long I've been a YouTuber on this channel. Thanks to many of you out there who've been here so long. I appreciate you very much. Thank you all for popping in. Look, today's date is July the 10th, 2023, and on August the 12th, it'll be 6 years. Is that right? I can't believe it. I cannot believe how long I've been a YouTuber. I honestly cannot believe it. But yeah, it has to be from 17 to now. I have two channels now, and it's all consuming. Welcome all to the program. It's nice to have you here from wherever you are on the planet. Here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This is the home right now of the greatest outdoor show in the world. The Calgary Stampede is on right now. The exhibition in Stampede is happening right this week. And up until an hour ago, it was a beautiful sunny day. But at this time of the year, what happens is all day long, the heat builds and builds and builds, and then the humidity rises, and we get these thunderheads showing up all over the place. And now it is getting gray out there, and we might get ourselves a humdinger of a shower here where it'll pour for half an hour. It'll just come down like a bucket, and then it all goes away and it clears up again. And so we're getting ready for the potential afternoon downpour here to cool things off a little bit. We shall see how that works out. Welcome all to my show here in Calgary, where we're going to talk about cruise ship travel news. I got to tell you, I don't like doing this at all. I really don't. What happens here is every Monday, I know I'm going to do two shows on this channel. The first show I do is at 7 o'clock Eastern time, which is just for sponsor members of the channel. So if you see people over here with commentary coming along, you'll see their name highlighted in green with a little avatar beside their name. That is that's a sponsor member of this channel. Those folks have been supporting this channel for, in some cases, 4.5 years, 5 years. It's unbelievable. I do a show just for sponsor members at 7 o'clock every Monday night, and it lasts close to an hour just when I get ready to do this show. So for me, it's back to back. I do one show for them, and then I do this show for the big show for everybody out there. And you're all welcome to come on in. And what I do every Monday is I try to figure out what I'm going to talk about every Monday night. What am I going to talk to you folks about that you're going to have an interest in knowing or might be curious about knowing about? Because there are many, 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 many YouTubers out there who do nothing but talk about cruise ships all the time. I'm not the only guy that talks about cruise ships. I'm not even on a cruise ship and I'm talking about cruise ships. You can watch YouTubers who are physically on cruise ships. Now, it's kind of difficult sometimes to do a show from a cruise ship because if you have a lousy internet connection. But there is no shortage of people, good people out there who go on a cruise, come back home, work away for days, weeks, putting together 3 or 4 videos about the cruise they were just on, and then they release that information to you every week, another one, or twice a week or whatever. So you have plenty of places to go for news. So today I was looking up cruise news and just what's happening. And I was getting depressed. I mean, there's just one story after another story after another story, and it's bad news. I saw one video that I saw someone on YouTube. I caught their video, and they were talking about uh, definite signs of cutbacks on cruise ships, where less is being offered for probably just as much money, if not more money. And many of you have mentioned this to me already. We've talked about it on this channel, and this whole video that this gentleman did was all about the cutbacks, and the cutbacks. I found that very depressing and interesting at the same time. But then I found other news today, more breaking kind of news, and I thought I'd have 2 or 3 stories for you, and I do. But the third story I have for you today could possibly be the biggest story in the cruise business since the breakout of COVID. This could be as bad as that. And I won't waste too much time holding back. Anyway, I want to say hi to everybody who's here. Thank you, as always, for joining in. Those of you who are kind enough and are able to, could you do me a favor? Please hit the thumbs up button for me. It brings momentum to the channel. Jennifer and I, my Jennifer Aniston lookalike wife and I, we are plotting our trip right now for this summer. We're going to be in Europe for 2 months. We're leaving towards the end of August and we'll be gone until late October. And there will be videos coming out of our upcoming trip. But in the meantime, it's Monday night with your buddy Bruce here to fill you in on what's going on the cruise side of things, and I will do that. First of all, again, thanks those of you who do hit the thumbs up button for us, because it means a lot to us. It basically it tells the folks over at YouTube. This guy has a small audience, but a ton of those folks give him a thumbs up. And the ratio between viewers and thumbs ups is so high that it blows the computers out of the water in San Francisco, where YouTube is trying to keep track of this channel's momentum. And the computers say to the other computers, we got to push viewers to this guy because they really engage with him. They talk to him on his live show. They seem to enjoy the show. And we got to get more people over there. So thank you for the thumbs ups. 34 are already in the house, which is incredible because there's only 45 of you watching. Thank you for the 34 thumbs ups. If you can hit that button, that would be great. I'll tell you that every week we seem to somehow, I don't know how it happens, but every week we end up with 100 or more thumbs ups on this show, on this live show, because after I go off the air, there are folks out there who are watching on the rerun. There might only be 45 of you now, but by tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, there'll have been over 500 views of this show. There might be 550, 600. I've had 700-800 views of this show with only 50, 60 people live. That's how many people follow me later. They get to me. And the rerunners are the ones who listen to me begging and pleading for thumbs ups, and they do it as well. So I want to say thank you to all of you watching tonight. Whether you're watching me on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and you hit that thumbs up button, you are the best. And I thank you very much, because every Monday, every week, we hit 100+ thumbs ups on this show. It's unbelievable. And people take the time to write a quick little note in the comments. And they'll say, hey, Bruce, I was number 68 today, or 75, or 92, 115. Keep up the good work. I thank you all so much for letting me know that you're out there and you appreciate what we do. All right. So again, thanks. I want to say hi to the folks who are here, and then I'll give you the news of the day. Karen is in the house. Hi, Karen Tegan or Tijen. Hello, Bruce, and all TWBers. It was a gorgeous day in Killdeer, Illinois today. The high of 87, but no humidity, and the air quality is grand. Gas is around $3.75 a gallon now. Ken Kureka is in the house with Janet from Saginaw, Michigan. Hi, guys. Temperature in Saginaw is 82. Gasoline is $3.42 a gallon. And good evening. We're number 6 on your thumbs up meter. Let me know if you could. What number are you on on the thumbs up meter tonight? What is gas where you live? Is it falling in price? It should be coming down. We're down to 73 a barrel. We should be coming down in price. Sharon is in the house saying, hi, Bruce. The author and I will be checking in while watching the Home Run Derby. Go, Pete Alonso. Tim Bowman, welcome all. I am number 8 on the meter, on the thumbs up meter. It's partly cloudy, says Tim, and in the mid-70s, 2 weeks until our second cruise of the year. This time, it's Alaska. Right on, buddy. Shady Hill Homestead. Hey, Bruce, number 9 on the thumbs up meter. Jeannie Lavinghouse is in the house from East Tennessee with Bill. Hello, Bruce and all TWBers. Bill and Jeannie are watching. We're here for the big show. Currently 84 degrees. Thank you guys for popping in. Kevin Chapman, the author himself, here early tonight. Thumbs up number 12. 2 months from our next cruise, Royal Caribbean to Bermuda. Loving the weather today in Central Jersey for a change. And cheers to you. Thank you, Kevin. All the best. Thanks for being here. Tim Bowman, Wakeview is my wallpaper on my phone and has been for 15 years. The Wakeview. That is what is on his telephone. This picture right here. David, hi, Bruce. About to deliver a Grand Slam cruise news segment. Wahoo, hot here in Conroe, Texas. 96 degrees in Conroe, Texas. Gas around $2.99 a gallon. It's nice to see a price under $3. Robert Mailhout is here. Hello, Bruce and everybody. Donnell from Cork, Ireland is in the house. I am number 16. Thank you, my friend, for being here. Kirk Brunson. Hey, Bruce, TW family. Kirk from the Big Apple is here. Number 15, and thumbs ups for you. Thank you, my friend. Nathan, hello, TW family. 88 Nashville. Gas is holding at $2.91 at Walmart for regular. Robert gave you a thumbs up on the stock market today, too. Thank you, my friend, even on that channel. Susan R., number 26. All the best to you, Bruce. We love you. Thank you, Susan R. Kay Rugg, hi from Lexington, Kentucky. Ms. M, hi, Bruce and all. Number 26 on the thumbs up meter. Jeff Gunter, number 30 here, Bruce, Austin, Texas. Costco gas, $2.98 a gallon. Here in Calgary, we're paying about $1.30, $1.35 a liter Canadian. So that's about $1 American a liter. That makes it $3.70 US. For a US gallon, it's about 3.7 liters. And at $1 US a liter, $3.70 a gallon is what we're paying around here. Kimberly McIndog, yay, comment went through. I was number 20, thumbs up. Right on. Thank you for being here, Kimberly. Jeannie, I forgot to tell you, Bruce, our Brucey's opened last week, or Bucky's opened last week in Seaverville, Tennessee. Snarled the traffic on I-40 exit 407 for hours. 74,000 square foot facility, the largest Bucky's until the next one opens in Tennessee. These are the largest gas stations on the planet. 74,000 square foot building to go into. After you fill up your tank, you park your car, go in there, and you cannot believe what's in there for sale. It's just stunning, world class. Jeannie, thank you for letting us in on this. I have heard the word on this. Sharon, 34 thumbs up. So you got 66 to go, Bruce. They're coming in. Jason Kimmons, happy Monday night from a monsoon in Lakeland, Florida. Your Monday night competition is Monday Night Raw and the Home Run Derby. That's your competition tonight. You are looking kind of fancy with your jacket on today, Bruce. Thank you, Kimberly. I have a fan going here to kind of circulate the air, and it's a little cool. And I thought I would just put on my little jacket that I would wear on a cruise ship and then just relax. Larry Blake, number 34, buddy. Thank you, Larry. Kimberly, I don't pay attention to gas prices. I need it no matter what. That's true. David, number 10 thumbs up meter here. Can't handle another COVID-19 event. Might need my frozen margarita tonight. Tim Bowman, gas remains high in the Seattle area with many stations over $5.35.9 a gallon. The taxes on top of the gasoline prices in Seattle, Washington State, are the highest in the nation. Gasoline in Washington State is more expensive now than California. It's incredible. They don't want cars to be driving over there with gas. Jeff Gunter, Austin, Texas, temperature 103 Fahrenheit right now. We are about 73. Tomorrow's high 69, 68 degrees. Louise Lanthier, hi Bruce and TWB family. My thumb is up and curious about your news tonight. Kimberly, I feel deprived of no Buc-ee's in the PNV. Sounds like tons of fun. They're expanding, I'll tell you that. All right, let me give you the news of the day, and let me show you some photos along with this news of the day. First of all, I'm going to shift over my logo over to my Traveling with Bruce logo right there, and a TWB. And now we're going to go over here. I want to show you some photos of this ship right here. This is the Ruby Princess from Princess Cruise Lines. And this is just a standard shot. Here's another shot of the Ruby Princess kind of closer in at port. But here is the photo I want you to see. The Ruby Princess was coming in to San Francisco. I think it was on Wednesday night. The ship was going to leave San Francisco on Thursday for a 10-day Alaska cruise when the ship was basically backing into its docking position, and it hit the pier rather abruptly and caused a severe gash on this ship. I'm not sure if I have another photo of it. No, not that one. That's a repair photo. There's another shot. Look at that. Look at that gash. There was a hole in the ship. Thankfully, the impact area was above the waterline, and so the ship was not in any danger of sinking. However, until it got repaired, like it has been here, or like it has been now here, it couldn't leave anywhere. And it took the cruise line a couple of days to get this done. Apparently, when you have damage that pierces the bow of the ship, or somewhere the hull of the ship, I should say, in this case, the aft, your insurance adjusters have to be brought out, and these are marine insurance adjusters. They might likely be flown in from out of town. Good news, San Francisco has an international airport, so you can get people here very quickly. You'll put an estimate together very quickly. You will then authorize the ship to be repaired because she'll be seaworthy. The Coast Guard will sign off on the repairs, and after the ship is fixed up, the ship is cleared to leave the port. And that's what happened here. The cruise line basically said to the passengers, sorry, folks, those of you getting off the ship on Thursday morning, you can get off the ship, no problem. We'll get your bags off, we'll get you out of there. And what the ship ended up doing was they allowed all their passengers to come on the ship on Thursday. And by about noon, 1, 2 in the afternoon, all the passengers that were going to go on this next cruise were on the ship, along with all their suitcases, and all the garbage had been taken off, and all the new food and all the booze and everything got brought on. And the ship was technically ready to go. The problem was, of course, the Coast Guard would not sign off on the ship leaving the harbor until after these repairs were completed. And it took until Sunday morning for that to be done. So Sunday morning, the cruise line had the Coast Guard come in, and the inspectors were all there, and everybody signed off on the seaworthiness of the Ruby Princess, and the ship was allowed to leave San Francisco. But that was on Sunday. The problem is she was supposed to leave on Thursday. So you've lost Thursday's sailing for Thursday evening, all day Friday, all day Saturday. You've lost 2.5+ days of sail time. And so the ship now is on a 7-day Alaska cruise versus a 10-day Alaska cruise. Now, the cruise line made an offer to all the passengers before they left the port. If you didn't want to take this 7-day cruise, no hard feelings, we will offer you a 100% refund of your voyage, all expenses, everything covered. We'll also give you a 50% deduction against a future cruise. So if you want to take a cruise 6 months from now, a year from now, even this ship a year from now, or another ship a year from now on Alaska, or you want to do a winter cruise in the Caribbean, whatever, 50% off your cruise. I think it's up to 50% of what you paid on the one you've been on now. So if you took a balcony cruise and you were paying $2,000 a passenger, that's $4,000. You get $4,000 back, plus any other money you prepaid, tips, excursions, and so on. And you'd get a $2,000 credit towards a future cruise. Okay. If you took the cruise, you did take the 7-day cruise, you would get a 75% refund on the cruise you're taking right now. So if you paid $4,000 for the two of you for your base fare, you'll get $3,000 back. It'll only cost you $1,000 for the two of you to take this cruise. Tipping and all that is still added on, no matter. But if you go on a future cruise, we'll give you a 75% credit on a future cruise as well. So it's 75% off this one and a 75% credit off another one. I have a feeling a high number of the people on board the ship stayed on the ship and left port for a 7-day cruise at only a quarter of the price. So that's what I think is going on. All worked out in the end. The ship is on its way. It's on its way to Alaska, and she's all fixed up. From that to that, it ain't pretty, but it's working, and she's all good to go. All right. The second story I have is about this ship right here. This is the Marella Discovery cruise ship. Now, this ship was at sea in the Caribbean, and she had just left. Amber Cove, and this was in the early hours of Friday night. The 1996 built vessel was sailing between Amber Cove and Grand Turk when a fire broke out in one of the 5 engine rooms on the ship. The crew immediately brought a fire brigade to the source of the fire, and they were able to snuff the fire out. Here's another shot of the ship right here from above. You can see the back of her there. The fire was put out successfully, and the ship did not lose any power. So all the lighting stayed on, all the plumbing is working, the electricity is working, the engine was running. But what the ship had to do was return back to Amber Cove. And upon returning to Amber Cove, they did an inspection, and they found out that they had to cancel the rest of the cruise. They decided to have the engineers do an assessment of any damage. They can then complete essential third-party inspection so they could be cleared to sail. Unfortunately, they said, we are currently waiting for class-approved surveyors who are flying to the Dominican Republic to restate and certificate the fixed firefighting system that we used to extinguish the fire. So once you've used the fire equipment, you have to recertify it because it has to be restored back to its working condition. And has to be inspected by inspectors, and on it goes. By the time all this is complete and we get cleared to sail, they said they would not be able to reach Port Canaveral on Sunday as planned. With that in mind, we've made the difficult decision to cancel this cruise and fly you home, the company said. Offering a 7-night cruise to the Caribbean and Florida, the Discovery sailed from Port Canaveral on July 2nd. Upon visiting Miami, Bimini, Grand Turk, and Amber Cove, the vessel was scheduled to return to Port Canaveral July 9th. That was yesterday. It's not a decision we've come to lightly, but it's clear we simply cannot offer you a sustainable itinerary, Marella said, noting that its shoreside team is now working on the logistics of bringing all guests back home to the United Kingdom. It's a big logistical operation, and we appreciate your patience as we make all the necessary arrangement, the company said. So an absolute mess. Affected passengers are set to receive pro rata refunds or full refunds, depending on the date they boarded the vessel. Some short excursions booked for the ports that were not visited are also being automatically refunded, Marella said. Once again, we're sorry we haven't been able to deliver the holiday you expected. We'd also like to thank you for your understanding and for your support of the crew. They are working hard to give you the best possible experience. Set to depart on July 9th, Marella. Upcoming cruise has also been canceled, the one that was supposed to start yesterday, according to a statement sent to the booked guests. So the cruise that was ending and the next cruise both canceled. As the ship gets recertified, will be returned ultimately to Port Canaveral and will likely start its next cruise later in July. So now the game plan is folks have had to be flown back to Port Canaveral, and then they had to make arrangements to get them back to the United Kingdom. Very expensive. What are you going to do? A fire on board can screw it all up. That is the second story that I wanted to tell you about. And now I got the big story of the day to talk to you about. So I'm going to get you to that as well. Just double checking here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I wanted to talk to you. Just mention a few comments from Kimberly. I feel deprived of no Buc-ee's. Yet tax are hard in Seattle, says Kimberly. For everything, a Gonzo Cruiser. I'm still planning my canal cruise. 7th November. This concerns me. Kimberly, I've heard about that Ruby Princess Oopsie Genie Living House. We sailed to Alaska on the Ruby Princess in 2015. Ms. M. Gas is about $1.90 a liter where we are in Canada. Kimberly, I thought I had heard that the Ruby Princess continued its next sailing 7 days instead of 10. Nikki, number 42 here. Greetings from Jacksonville. Thank you, Nikki. Kimberly, thank you, Bruce, for giving real trustworthy information. Kimberly, unfortunately, the Ruby Princess 75% savings shows how little money the fare actually is versus the onboard costs. And Sharon, 49 thumbs ups, almost halfway there. Okay. Let me now tell you the big story. I think this story is going to really pick up some speed here. Unbelievable. First of all, let me show you this photo of this ship here. This ship, this is a photo. I don't believe this is a real photo of a real ship. I think this is a computerized version of a ship known as the Explora #1 from MSC. Those of you who are familiar with the cruise lines out there, you know that our friends over at Viking, they have the Viking River Cruises, and they also have Viking Ocean Cruise ships. The Viking Ocean Cruise ships are kind of like the size of this ship right here, the Explora #1 for MSC. MSC has decided to create a division, a second division, where they're going to only cater to approximately 922 passengers at a time, 634 crew at a time, with a ship that is 813 feet long and about 64,000 tons. And that is very similar to the Viking Ocean Cruise ships that are out there now. This is what the pool area is going to look like. And you can tell by looking at this photo, there are not 300 chase lounges all over the place. We're talking about a ship with 922 passengers, maximum capacity. So looking at this photo, again, you're going to see at the top, towards the very front is a small pool. Then about a third of the way, there's a 3-panel covered pool area. Then coming further towards the back is another open pool area. And then on the very, very back at the bottom there is yet another pool. I believe that's an infinity pool way down there. So there are 4 pool areas on the ship. So you can imagine that, you know, you might have 150 at the back, 200 at the second one from the back. And then there might be 300, 200 in the middle area and 100 at the front. There's your majority of your passengers going to enjoy a pool day. If you're going to go on a pool day, you're not going to have 900 passengers around one swimming pool. The cruise line has ordered 4 of these ships. 4 are on order. The first one was to be delivered officially 4 days ago, July the 6th. The ship went through sea trials and was supposed to be delivered to the MSC Corporation, and it was supposed to have a naming ceremony on July the 8th, day before yesterday. And on the 17th of July, this ship was supposed to have its inaugural sailing. And it's all canceled. The ship has not been delivered by the shipbuilder. The ship is held up. And the reason the ship has been held up for delivery is that right in the last week, just as it was getting ready to be handed over, it was discovered that on board the ship, there are what we call fire panels on these ships. Fire panels, from what I'm understanding, and I'm learning this bit by bit now, fire panels are between the walls of all the cabins. They're between the walls beside the cabins, the wall to the hallway and the cabin, the ceiling and the floor area. These fire panels are everywhere on these ships. The biggest problem cruise ships have for safety, as far as loss of life and really causing problems, fire. Fire on board a cruise ship is the worst case scenario. Here's an example here of a fire that took place on an MSC ship a few years ago, even in port. And you can see here, after the fire is put out, just how deadly and devastating these can be. Here's another image of a ship that was caught on fire many years ago. I believe this is a Princess ship. And you can just see how these balconies melt. The glass partitions and the dividers, everything melts out, and it rises. Of course, the fire rises if it's not contained, and then you'll note that the Lido deck and the top pool deck will get hit, and these ships can suffer absolutely devastating damage to the point where, if it's bad enough, you will have a ship that has to be scrapped. I mean, you won't be able to save it. Now, these fire panels that are on board these ships, technology has been advancing everywhere in the world, and shipbuilding technology has come a long way. And so these fire panels are designed to help contain fires into certain areas of the ship. A fire has several components to it. Number one, the flames. Number two, the smoke. Number three, the heat. The heat can be a problem, because if a cabin below you catches fire and you're above that cabin, it's possible that you might get out of there and be taken somewhere else on the ship with your life preserver on, and you'll save for now. You might get on a tender and get off the ship. But the problem with your cabin is that because it's above the cabin that's on fire, the heat is emanating higher. And a fire on board a cruise ship can be inside several cabins and is somewhat sheltered from the outside world, because the balcony allows fresh air in and water in, but the other three sides of your cabin and your ceiling and your floor contain that fire in that space, like turning your cabin into an oven. And you're going to get 1,000 plus degree temperatures in your cabin and the cabin above you, beside you. And what happens now? Spontaneous combustion. Even though there isn't a spark inside your cabin, the mere fact that temperatures rise so dramatically, you can have spontaneous combustion. And so now other cabins ignite automatically if you can't stop the first fire. These new fire protection systems are supposed to help contain the heat and delay and give as much time as possible for firefighting crews to get at these fires. That is the game plan. That's the whole plan, is to get water to these cabins. Now, if you have a fire in an inside cabin, I have no idea how bad it can be. This insulation is not just limited to cabins. It is also used in the kitchens. It is used in all areas of the ship. You've got restaurants now, specialty dining restaurants all over the ship on all kinds of decks. You've got ovens. You've got stoves. You've got the barbecue on the main deck, cranking out sausages and burgers. You have sources of fire and ignition everywhere. And then you've got passengers who are not supposed to be smoking, who are trying to pull a fast one, trying to light a cigarette somewhere where they won't get caught. And they flick the cigarette overboard, hopefully to land in the water. And if the ship is at sea and it's moving, or even if it's sitting in the harbor and there's a wind coming at the ship, The problem is that a passenger will flick a cigarette out into the water, and the wind just sucks it back onto the ship, the deck below or the deck above, or on the same deck as you are, a few cabins down. And if it lands on a beach towel, on a chair, on a deck, it can catch fire. And here we go. And it might not be evident for 10 minutes that there's actually a fire on board the ship until the towel ignites and it melts the chair that the towel is on, and now the flames are catching other areas. Sparks begin to fly, and away we go. So these fire retardant panels are incredibly important to limit fires and not allow them to spread wildly on board a cruise ship. All right, so there's the problem. Now, the Explora #1 for MSC has these fire panels on board the ship everywhere, and the story goes that the company that manufactures these panels, called Paroc, P-A-R-O-C, Paroc. This company, based in Helsinki, Finland, is a wholly owned subsidiary company of Owens Corning from the United States, publicly traded company, multi-billion-dollar machine, huge outfit. They lost their certification of their fire panels in the last week, and we've now found out that the version of their fire panels that they had before these currently used fire panels that they've been using for a while also have been decertified. They do not pass fire inspection rules anymore. And the problem here, and this is the big news, the problem is there are a potential 45 cruise ships at sea right now with paying passengers with these fire panels that are not certified to protect against the spread of a fire. And there's some kind of defect that has been uncovered, that has been found, and they've checked and rechecked, and they've come out with, these inspectors in Europe under very strict conditions have come up with the conclusion that this company's fire protection panels do not meet the standards for fire protection on marine vessels. Now, these guys don't just do cruise ships, they do container ships. Wherever there are crew on board ships, all this marine vessels, they're all not qualified. The key for what we care about, cruise ships. 15% of the world's cruise ships right now at sea are not fire worthy, are not fire protection worthy, and they're operating as we speak. Believe you me, the cruise lines know which ships these are. They just found out in the last couple of days, and they've kept quiet about it because they don't know what exactly to do. They're trying to figure out what is the solution to the problem. One would think that with the new ship, the Explora #1, the game plan is simple. Bring the ship back into the shipbuilding port and replace the panels. That would be the solution. Take the old panels out and put new panels in. But I've mentioned to you that these panels are located in the roofs, the floors, the walls of all the cabins. They're inside walls between kitchen compartments. They're in between the walls in the dining rooms, in all of the specialty restaurants. These are everywhere. Even if there isn't something to create a fire, these fire panels are there anyway. Just like I said, for cabins, inside cabins, outside cabins. You don't have a stove in your balcony cabin. No, of course not. But your cabin is protected on both side walls, your back wall to the hallway, ceiling, and your floor from excessive heat and fire penetration by these firewalls. How are you going to get them out? How are you going to get those panels out? And how are you going to insert new fire panels without gutting the entire ship? You tell me how this is going to work. I don't know how it can be done, because as many of you know, if you're cruisers and if you're watching me, you love cruising, you know that the inside walls of your cabins are metal. So if you have one of those, those clips, you notice the clip I have up here. See this clip up here? Some of you use these towel clips on your loungers, but there are a lot of you who have these small clips that have a magnetic unit, and you just clip those onto your wall, and then you hang your towel on there, or you hang your bathing suit on there to get to with a hanger. Perhaps you put a shirt on there just to air it out. Behind the metal wall of your cabin are these fire panels, but there's something else in there: insulation, wiring. In the bathrooms, all the plumbing. On the floor, you've got drainage, you've got insulation there. In the ceiling, you have fans. Sometimes you have fans in your cabin. Sometimes you have lighting up there. Beside your beds, you have plug-ins for your telephones. You have plug-ins for your CPAP machine. All that wiring has to be delicately worked around. And the problem with these cabins is that on a modern day cruise ship today, cruise ships are not built at shipbuilding yards where craftsmen build the cabin inside the ship. No, the ships are basically assembled like giant Lego pieces. And cruise ships are built in sections now. And you've got the hull section and you've got the cabin sections. And what will happen is cabins are built at one off-site facility, and the cabins are slotted in to a giant grid. They fit in, they snap in place with all the insulation already in these cabins. And then these sections of cabin are then inserted on top of and into a grid of a piece of the hull. And you now have a 100-foot, 200-foot long piece of ship that is, from the side, looks like the ship up 15 stories tall. And they float that to the ship assembly area where the ship is finally put together. And these sections are clipped together, and all the piping and the wiring is all assembled. The logistics are unbelievable. And everything is pre-made, pre-manufactured with the fire prevention panels already installed, already built into the entire system from the beginning. Now we're talking about a completed ship, the Explorer #1. It's all finished. And now you're going to have to replace these defective panels, which is every one of them, because the panels now for the last several years are all defective, all been ruled unsafe. How are you going to do that? How many millions are we talking about? How many months? How deep down into the ship is this going to be done? How much wrecking has to be done? How much of the ship has to be torn apart to get to the middle of the ship and then come back out again and rebuild it? At the shipbuilding yard, I have no idea how this is going to get done. This is a logistical nightmare of potentially epic proportions. Then there are 45 other ships out at sea right now that could all be in the same dilemma. And here are some of the cruise lines and ships that are affected, just so you know. If you've got a cruise coming up, listen closely. If you're going to be on ships like on AIDA Cruises, the AIDA Cosma, the Disney Cruise Line Disney Wish, the Holland America Line Rotterdam, Princess Cruises Discovery, Discovery Princess, Norwegian Cruise Line the Prima, Virgin Voyages A Resilient Lady are among others that are out there now. Now, upcoming ships that are impacted by this issue include the Norwegian Cruise Line Norwegian Viva, Cunard Line Queen Anne, Carnival Cruise Line Carnival Jubilee, and other ships for Princess Cruises, MSC, Norwegian Cruise Line, and more. And apparently there is a problem with one of the MSC ships called the Euribia. That would be spelled EURIBIA, the Euribia. This ship has panels on board. It just got launched. Is it 4,000 or 5,000 passengers? This is huge. what we might have happen, again, I can't tell you if this is going to happen, but if firefighting authorities, coast guards around the world believe that all the ships out there with these panels are subject to this kind of potential dilemma, fire hazards, that means 45 cruise ships that are at sea now may be decertified and not allowed to sail with paying passengers. This is 15% of all cruise ships in the world today. What does this mean for the rest of the summer season, the fall season, the winter season? Because the first guinea pig among all the ships will be the Explora #1. This ship right here, the Explora #1, 813 feet long, 60-something thousand tons, capable of holding almost 1,000 passengers. How long and how much money and how devastating is it going to be to tear this ship apart to get at all the panels that are now deemed to be unworthy of stopping a fire? I don't know. The Coast Guard in the United States acts differently than the Coast Guard in the UK. And they act differently than in France. They act differently than in Italy. And on it goes around the world. But one thing is a common known fact. And that is, if you have a fire on board a cruise ship or any ship, a military ship, a cargo ship, we're talking bad news. We are talking the scariest of scenarios that are going on right now. And I'm asking the question from a practical point of view. If 45 cruise ships with an average of 3,000 passengers each are taken offline instantly, we're talking about every week 3,000 passengers per ship will not be sailing with paying passengers. And this could be for a year or two, maybe that long. Because, I mean, how many panels have been made that do pass the test? I don't even know if there are any. This company or another company or other companies in general are going to have to be contracted by the shipbuilding companies, these dry dock operators, for all 45 ships, including I don't know how many container ships, for custom-made firefighting panels to be inserted into the ships that are already out there. If you're talking 3,000 passengers times 45 ships, I think we're talking 135 passengers a week that cannot take a cruise. And if this is a 1-year problem, 50 cruises times 135,000 passengers, 50 times 135. That is 6.5 million passengers in a year. And if this is a 2-year thing, 13 million passengers. And what about the 10 or 15 ships that are under construction that have already had some of this put in? They all now have to get it all taken out and redone before they go any further. That could mean a 1-year delay before another new ship is launched for anybody else. And those ships are 4,000 passengers on average, if not more. I mean, these are some of the behemoths of behemoths. The biggest ships ever made are now being done. How many are we talking about here? Are we talking about 15 million cruisers, 18, 20 million cruisers that can't go on a cruise coming up? I do not know any of this information. I am just throwing it your way because I got to think that if any one of those 45 ships has a fire and the insurance company and the cruise line and the shipbuilder all know that on that ship are fire panels that have been classified as not qualified. They have been decertified. And there's a fire on board a cruise ship. How many lawyers do you think are lining up at the courthouse to take everyone to court? The cruise line's #1, because you're operating a ship you knew has these panels. The shipbuilder, The insurance companies themselves, the insurance companies on behalf of the cruise lines are going to be sued by passengers. The cruise lines are going to sue the insurance companies, or they're going to sue the manufacturer of the fire panels, which means Owens Corning is going to get sued. This is a multi-billion-dollar nightmare that is just falling into place. This is only like a day old. This story is brand new. And there is no mention of anything I'm telling you right now. Anything I've just said about this whole mess. There's nothing right now on any of the cruise lines' news feeds. The cruise ship shares out there that trade, they trade right up until they got 10 more minutes to go, if I'm not mistaken, before the end of the day today. Norwegian Cruise Lines shares right now are up a penny in the aftermarket. There's no information going there. We know there are ships affected. Carnival, the stock's down 4 cents in the aftermarket. It was up 26 during the day today. So nothing happening there. And Royal Caribbean was up $1.19 on the day. It's down 39 cents in the aftermarket. Is that the only cruise stock so far to feel any of this news so far? What happens tomorrow when the market opens and this news spreads out? What happens at the end, by the end of the day tomorrow night? What happens all this week on the market, on the stock market? What happens to Owens Corning stock? That's the other question I have. That is a huge company. What happens to their shares if the realization sinks in that they could be liable for tens of billions in settlement offers, like lawsuits, just to fix the ships, just to fix them, let alone if there's a fire on any one. God help anyone if there's a fire on any one of those ships for any reason, whether it's an engine room fire, a kitchen fire, a careless employee, a passenger, it doesn't matter what the fire is. Any fire on any of those ships that have insulation that is not certified, my God, we've got ourselves an absolute nightmare. Is it possible that all of these ships should be grounded right now, should be taken offline, and all cruises canceled until further notice? Can you imagine the amount of money we're talking about? You think about just one ship with 3,000 passengers. If it's $2,000 a passenger for a 1 week cruise, between the high-end cruises, high-end cabins, and the inside cheap cabins, if it's $2,000 a passenger, just as a rough number, times 3,000 people per ship per week for a year, we are talking billions and billions and billions of lost business here. This is a mess. I wonder what is going on. Thank you all for being here so far. Appreciate this. Sharon is saying you now have 52 thumbs up. Kimberly, that looks like a mighty large ship claiming to be smaller. JJ, the sports jacket, in other words, a new tradition perhaps. Kimberly, oh my. Fires on a cruise ship might be worse than icebergs. JJ begs the question, Uncle Bruce, what cruise ship and cruise lines have fire panels that have been decertified? We are going to find out. As I said, I found a few, but I don't have the official list. Oh my gosh. Glenn Snyder, very expensive problem for MSC and other cruise lines, but safety first. Jamie Newsom, hey, Uncle B. Sharon, in other words, we're all going to die. Lee, number 57, coming in late from Boca Raton, still hot here. Wishing TWB family very best wishes. Thank you, Lee. Jamie, Carnival was the worst cruise for me. I don't know how a cruise line can dare, how they would dare to even offer a cruise, knowing what now is coming out in the early hours of this story. You can't tell me that the safety protocol officers, you can't tell me the legal departments of the cruise lines don't know. Can't tell me senior management does not know. What I'm telling you has been released in the press. This is out there. This story has already been out there. It's confirmed. The manufacturer out of Finland, Helsinki, Finland, has decertified, has told the world that their panels are not fireworthy. The shipbuilders know the ship for MSC has been pulled back from delivery. That is big news in the cruise business. Every cruise line president, vice president, every captain of every cruise ship out there knows that the Explora #1 ship was pulled back at the last minute by the shipbuilder. Everybody knows. There's no one can claim I didn't know. No, it's out there. So now the question is, of the 45 ships that are out there with these panels, where are they? Who are they? Do the passengers know? Next week's cruise, if you found out tonight that a cruise ship you're supposed to be on next week, wherever you're going, Alaska, the Mediterranean, the Baltic, Scottish Isles, Asia, Alaska, and Australia, New Zealand. I mean, wherever you're going on a cruise next week, if you found out tonight that the ship you were going to be on has been decertified for fire protection, would you go on it? What are your thoughts? You have to wonder if there's a God forbid there's an event, and the passengers who were on the ship and the cruise line, they all knew that the ship was not covered. How would there be insurance on the ship? The insurance company could deny coverage. The insurance company could say to Holland America, hey, you guys knew that the ship had defective fire panels on board, and you sailed anyway. We're not going to pay out any payouts. You've breached your insurance policy, knowingly operating a cruise ship with defective firefighting equipment on board. That's a pure, blatant. You're on your own, pal. If there's a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit being filed against Carnival, which owns Holland America, they're going to have to pay it out of their pocket. They're not going to be able to get insurance to cover their butts. Their insurance is null and void on all those ships. I don't know how many there are in the Carnival family, but you think about the fact that they own Princess Cruise Lines, Holland America Cruise Lines, Cunard, they own Costa Cruising, Ada Cruising, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Seabourn? The Carnival line itself. Then our friends at Royal Caribbean. Apparently there's a Royal Caribbean ship involved. I'm asking you, do you think it is possible that the ship known as the Icon of the Seas, the largest ship in the fleet that they are testing right now, they're doing sea trials on her right now, do you think it's possible that that ship also has the fire panels that are defective on that ship? Up to possibly 7,000 passengers and 2,300 crew, that ship could well be decertified at any moment. I don't know. Celebrity, any of those ships in trouble? Celebrity's got the beautiful ship, the Beyond, the Edge. They got new ships under construction. What's going on there? The other three ships for MSC in the Explora class, what's the story on those? The second ship is half done. It's halfway complete. How much fire protection equipment is on that ship that is no longer certifiable, no longer insurable? What are you going to do? You're going to rip it apart right now? You probably have to. This is an absolute nightmare that could be unfolding right now. And I just wonder, what is going on here? I do not know. Let's see. Mike, my wife and I will be on the Discovery Princess in November. I'm semi-concerned. Sharon, number 60 thumbs ups, 40 to go, Bruce. JJ, are Lindblad ships affected? I don't know. Jason, would you? Hell no, says Jamie. Jason, does the Coast Guard get involved if ships aren't certified? I think so. I have a suspicion that if you cannot provide documentary evidence to the Coast Guard that you have an insured, certified ship, I don't think you can get into Miami. You can't get into Port Canaveral. You sure as hell not getting out of there. What about Galveston and Tampa and Port Canaveral and New York City, Los Angeles, Frisco, Seattle, all these cruises to Alaska, Canada, coming and going out of Canada without being fire certified? I can't see how the ships can even operate. All of Europe would shut them down. I'm certain of it. Europe is a stickler for fire safety. You got to wonder. I got to think that this list of 45 ships is in the hands of all cruise lines, all coast guards. Bulletins have been flying around everywhere. And I'm wondering, why have we not heard anything about it? And we have not heard a single press release from a single cruise line canceling cruises on these ships. I'm stumped here. I don't have the answer. I just don't know the answer to this question. I would think that there would be a few lawyers out there who would be really interested. I know that our friend Cruise Law News, our friend at Cruise Law News, and I apologize, I don't know his name offhand here. There is a David. It'll come to me. There we are, Mr. Walker, Jim Walker. Jim Walker at Cruise Law News, Walker and O'Neill, maritime lawyers. He's on this story. He has this story on his front page, dated today. He is all over it. He's going to be all over this story, as I expect he would be. And you can just imagine that if he knows about this story, all other maritime lawyers have to know. Every harbor master has to know. Look, if you have a ship in port, you get 5 cruise ships in your harbor, okay, and they're lined up one behind the other, all right, and one of those 5 ships is not certified for fire protection, and it catches fire in port, which can happen. I mean, look at this photo here. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. This ship was in port. Can you imagine if the fire got out of hand? You would have sparks flying from the top of that ship. They would fly for miles into the air, and they would land in the city that the ship is sitting in, downtown Genoa, Marseille, France, Barcelona. The fire would rage, and wherever the wind direction is going, so would the ash from this fire. Hot ash. We're talking about an inferno here. We're talking about a nightmare, not only for the other ships surrounding that ship, but the entire harbor area. What about the fuel depot, where they keep those huge, those humongous round fuel tanker containers? These refineries are by ports. It's how you get the fuel in and get the fuel distributed on the land. We're talking about all kinds of areas around a cruise port that could be susceptible to fires. All those containers of goods, Los Angeles, for example, the Los Angeles port, you have a fire in the LA port where the cruise terminal is. That's in the heart of the entire container port of Los Angeles. Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of containers there are over there that could go up? At one catches, they're just stacked on top of each other. I mean, this is Armageddon. This is an absolute nightmare that could happen at any time. We don't know. And it can all start with a careless cigarette butt. It could be that simple. It doesn't have to be anything exotic. It doesn't have to be a calculated terrorist attack or anything like that. It can be something so innocent. A shorting of a wire starts a fire deep inside a cruise ship, and it just emanates out. And by the time the crew figures out what's going on, the temperature of that fire inside the middle of the ship is at 2,000 degrees, and it's just igniting cabin after cabin, room after room. This whole ship is going up, including the fuel bunkers on board the ship itself, the fuel tanks. We're talking some scary stuff here. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I sure hope they won't going to cancel my cruise for that reason. Jamie, a thumbs up, people. You got to love this channel. Like I said, I was really depressed today when I saw the news. I thought there's nothing but bad news out there. It's terrible. Story after story. And my second story tonight was about the Marella Discovery. Engine fire on board the ship. They put it out. Thank God they put it out. I don't know if that ship has any issues with fire retardant or anything. I have no idea. Hopefully, it has nothing to do with it. It's just an isolated incident that got looked after. They put it out. They're now getting the ship recertified and it'll be good to go. I hope so. But what about the 45 others? Can you take the chance? I can, again, just got imagining what's going to happen here. Karen, a very eye-opening show tonight, Bruce. So thanks for your honesty in reporting this. Jason, now that's it. July 23, Carnival is supposed to start rolling out Starlink satellite service throughout the fleet. How will this affect the Wi-Fi package? I gotta wonder. I really wonder how this is going to play out. Is this story going to be like? Are there lobbyists working right now in Washington, in Brussels, in Rome, and Paris, and Berlin, and in country capital cities of all these countries that have coastline? Are there lobbyists working on behalf of Owens Corning, the cruise lines, the manufacturer of these defective products, to try to diffuse and keep calm the authorities? They're trying to find a way to not have 45 cruise ships taken offline right now. Is that going on? I don't know. There's just so much going. I bet you there's so much going on right now. Experience on cruise ships already declined. Poorer quality entertainment in my last Princess Mediterranean cruise, combined with a once-a-day room service. Same on our Caribbean cruise with MSC last February. Folks, it has absolutely been happening left, right, and center. The pullback of quality, the pullback of service, the pullback of choices for meals, the pullback of little tiny things on cruise ships has become evident to more and more seasoned cruisers. Rookies who've never been on a cruise ship are overwhelmed with the experience. They're just blown away with everything. They still are blown away by the lobby and the music on board the ship and moving on the sea, where experienced cruisers are finding out bit by bit by bit, and week after week and month after month, they are cutting stuff out. They are taking stuff away from us, and they're not reducing the prices. And that is happening again and again and again. It's absolutely true. Yeah, absolutely true. Folks, those are my three stories. The Ruby Princess getting patched up in Frisco, and it's on its way to Seattle. The Marella Discovery ship having a fire in its engine room, one of its engine rooms, getting that put out and now getting passengers home at a great expense to the airline, great expense to the cruise line. And now this MSC Explora #1 story that is just, I think it's going to explode. I think the story is going to absolutely explode. I cannot believe it hasn't already. I cannot believe that this story hasn't gone parabolic yet. I am stumped by this. I don't know when and how, but something is telling me that something's going on. Unbelievable. Glenn, seems like they're already trying to save money. Big losses with COVID and high fuel costs. The safety problem could be financially devastating. That's what I think. Pete, when we cruised Majestic Princess in December, it seemed the once-a-day cabin service cleaning thing was becoming standard. Previously, it was always twice a day. Yes, it was in the morning and turn down service in the evening. Always twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. There would be service 3 times a day. Now it's once a day. And they still expect you to give them $20 a day tips in many cases for the room stewards. $20 a day tip for staff. Mandatory charge. 20% gratuity on all drink packages and everything else. It's you're paying more and getting much, much less. The quality of food choices has really backed off. Apparently, portion sizes have been affected as well. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm getting reports on. Unbelievable. Anyway, there's the story, guys, of where we're at tonight. That's what I have. I don't have anything more I can share with you at the moment. I would love to be able to tell you that the cruise lines are stepping up here and doing the right thing. I'm assuming that the right thing should be suspending cruises on ships that aren't certified for fire protection. I would think that the insurance companies that are insuring the cruise lines, the folks, the insurance groups out of the UK, Europe, USA, wherever they're located, I would think that they would be stepping up and doing the right thing. That they would be telling the cruise lines, we're not insuring those 45 ships. Those 45 ships do not have fire protection insurance at all. We're not giving it, and that has to mean, to me, it has to mean that the coast guards around the planet are going to not allow the ships in with. They won't let them leave with paying passengers. They won't let them sail with paying passengers. I got to think the U.S. government would step up and say no Americans can go on these cruise ships. I would think the British government would protect their citizens. I mean, they're wide open for lawsuits if they don't. It's an endless pit of legals. Kimberly kind of makes sense. He steps getting higher to higher. Jason, all these cutbacks hasn't deterred paying passengers because all these ships are packed. For now, Kimberly, 2020 just changed our world forever, didn't it? Didn't it just? I got to think that lawyers out there are going to make sure this story spreads and gets out there. I got to think that we are one spark away from a humongous disaster. One ship only has to light up, and this will cover everybody. This will affect everyone out there. I can't imagine the Owens Corning people not being comfortable right now. The lawyers over there have got to be sleepless. They got to be. They got to be really worried about it. And the shipbuilders and the firm in Helsinki, Finland, and all the countries that have been funding the building of these ships, Germany's Export Bank, France, Italy, Finland, everyone, where all these cruise ships are being built. These export banks have been funding and financing the build out of these ships. The Disney ship, is it, what did I say it was called? Was it the Disney Wonder, I said? Is one of the ships, the Disney Wish, with all those children on board every week. Can you imagine Disney allowing the ship, the Disney Wish, to sail where they know that that ship is not seaworthy because of fire retardant problems? These guys are going to allow this ship to sail? Disney? Am I missing something here somewhere? What am I missing? Is the dollar bill that important that you're going to put 3,500 to 4,000 passengers, of which there could be 1,500 kids on each sailing, at risk, potentially? I wonder what Jim Walker thinks about this. Unbelievable. Sharon, on that cheery note, 65 thumbs ups, and have a great night, Bruce and everybody. Thank you, Kimberly. It's just devastating to these cruise lines. It's just mortifying. I really wonder. I cannot believe I haven't seen an announcement at this moment. Nothing. We'll keep you posted, everybody. I'll be back next Monday for sure. I sure hope there's updates in the meantime. If any of you hear anything, let me know. Send me a message and tell me what you hear. I'll try to keep you posted on what's going on. In the meantime, thank you all so much for being part of my channel tonight. 67 thumbs ups with 33 to go to get to 100. I can't thank you enough. 57 people are here right now. There'll be hundreds watching this show overnight, tomorrow, the day after. And we'll just stay on top of this story and see what's going on and see if anyone covers it anywhere else. Should this not be front page news in certain areas of the world? I would think so. We'll do the best we can to stay on top of it. Thank you all in the meantime for being with me week in and week out. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful week in July here coming up. Stay well, stay healthy for me, stay cool if you can. And we'll catch you next time from Traveling with Bruce. Hopefully the news will be better. We'll try to stay on top of it as much as we can. All the best to all of you out there. Thank you so much for the thumbs ups and your kind words of support. I do appreciate it. Kimberly, even though it's depressing, thank you for letting us aware. I can't hide this from you. I can't put a sugar coating on this. You have to know. You have to know. There you go. Thank you. CLI and MSC rush to downplay the story according to a news story. Have a great week. Jamie, see you in the AM, Bruce, with Stock Markets with Bruce. Thank you, Jamie. We will see you tomorrow morning over on the other channel. Good night, everybody. Mail out. I'll be covering this story on my other channel for sure, because the three big cruise lines are publicly traded companies along with Owens Corning. I'll be on it tomorrow on the other channel if you want to join me there. Stock Markets with Bruce, 8:30 Eastern time, live Monday to Friday for 2 hours. You can join me every day, Monday to Friday, on the other channel. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow on the other channel. We'll see you here next week. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.